Welcome to a new episode of Coming Out with Liz and Eddie. I'm Liz Lyute.
I'm Eddie Connor, and the title of this episode is called Ask Better Questions and Change Your Life. And the reason for asking better questions is so that you enhance the quality of your life via your heart chakra and your solar plexus. Right, Liz?
Absolutely, Eddie. Thanks for watching the show.
Did you know that adults think over 50,000 thoughts a day?
You know, I did not know that.
And did you, out of those 50,000 plus thoughts that they think, how many of them do you think are recycled thoughts from the day before, the week before, or even back to childhood?
I can guess, 50%?
Mm-hmm. And out of these thoughts, how many are brand new thoughts that they haven't thought before?
25%.
Almost 90+% of the thoughts we think today, 70,000, is recycled.
Oh, wow.
And we habitually think the same thoughts over and over and over. And somehow we think we're going to get a different outcome than we did the last 800,496.3 weeks we thought them before.
So isn't that what Einstein said? He said that we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And that is the
definition of insanity,
right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And we don't even know we do it. We get sort of stuck in these ruts.
Yeah.
And we perpetually think, it's lazy thinking.
Yeah.
We ain't calling you lazy.
We all do it.
Yeah, everybody does it. We do it by default. We do it by accident. We say we do it by asphalt disease. It's our ass, it's our fault. Mm-hmm. And it's about cleaning up the thoughts. The title of this whole show is about asking better questions in order to change your life. And one of the quickest ways to change your life is not only by asking the better questions, it's about lovingly monitoring what you thinking.
Absolutely.
Because what you thinking is going to cause you to vibrate, and what you vibrate is going to cause you to attract something. And then you're going to be attracting you're going to be living what you were attracting and vibrating and observing. Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, it's what we when I always talk about the observer. You be aware of what you're thinking, be aware of what your thoughts are, be aware of what your feelings are. This is all part of it. One of the elements, right?
And observing, if you think you're just sitting there observing something, you're observing it with your eyes, your ears, your 5 physical senses. You're observing it through your instinct, your intuition, your higher self,
Absolutely.
Your inner being. You're observing it through your imagination. You're pretending, you're daydreaming, you're acting as if. You're observing it through your empathic sensitivities as well as your intuition. So just because you one big old meat suit of flesh sitting there observing one thing, you are literally like a giant kaleidoscope of physical, non-physical frequency in every aspect of your subpersonalities are looking at each of those things in a different frequency, a different input, a different output with a different way of looking at it.
Yeah. So basically, because we're in a physical form, we're a consciousness experiencing physicality. All of those things that Eddie just said, that's correct. But we just say it in a different. I just say it in a different way. We are experiencing physicality, but from that point of view, just be aware of everything. Not to be. And we were just talking about it. Edward was saying, don't be a lazy thinker, right?
You can't.
You can't be.
And when you do catch yourself being an innocent, lazy thinker,
yes.
We think now that when you think, your lazy thinking, you will be aware of it so that you can elevate your thinking a little bit higher. And in order to do that, we want to give you 4 new tools to play with. And our friend Liz here is going to share the tools with you. Okay, Liz?
So today we're sharing, and we're going to share this today. The first thing is awareness. The second thing is the solar plexus megaphone. And Ed was going to extrapolate that on later on.
I'm going to strap on what?
You're going to strap on something later on regards to that.
Okay.
And like attracts like, conscious and subconscious.
So let's go with awareness first.
Start that.
The power of awareness. And yes, we talk about some things often on the show because it's so important.
Yeah.
And honestly, it takes 3 or more times before it even starts to take hold in your conscious and subconscious mind. And it often takes 21 days to go from a lazy thinking habit or belief to a more conscious habit, thought, or belief.
Yeah, and also awareness. Edward's correct. It's just like awareness is so many things, and I want to say that if you have a daily practice of awareness, and that's what we're talking about, daily practice, then if you should fall off the wagon on the second day, it doesn't matter. Just every day, be kind to yourself and just continue every single day to make that practice. And you will discover after you've been doing it a while, all of a sudden, your awareness has expanded and your behavior has changed.
And when you evolve from an old platform of thinking, feeling, and living to a higher platform of thinking, feeling, and living, once you become aware and conscious and cognizant, and that becomes a new habit of thought, you cannot devolve, even though I met some people that look like and acted like they were. You cannot devolve, you only evolve. So once you evolve to a certain space and you wake up in your heart, you wake up in your gut instinct, you wake up in your conscious and subconscious mind, you cannot go backwards and be happy. You can't go back to lazy thinking, because if you do, you know that you did it and your heart doesn't feel happy about it.
Well, you can go back.
But
you can go back, but that's your choice. Again, we're going to talk about free will and choice here, and that if you have changed your habit, but all of a sudden you fall back and you're aware of it.
Yes.
See, you're aware of it. You have made that choice yourself.
Right.
You have committed. So you can go back if you want to, but that's your choice. And that's your choice.
And here's where we're going to get a mud pit for season 3.
Okay.
We have a ball pit in the corner. We need mud. And yes, what I was saying,
yes,
my friend Liz,
tell me,
is when you go backwards to lazy thinking, once you're awake, you don't feel good about it.
Yeah.
And we're both saying the same thing.
Yeah, we're saying the same
in
thing.
a different way. Be gentle with yourself, but your heart knows that you're going backwards. Your mind and consciousness knows that you're choosing to default to something that's, and I hate the word lazy, but that's what it is. Habitual, lazy, old programs that no longer serve you.
You're reframing it. You can use reframe. You're reframing old behaviors to new behaviors. And it's a constant thing. It's something that you're not going to stop doing your entire life. You're always going to be doing it.
Yeah. She likes the word refrain.
I do.
She do.
Mm-hmm.
So awareness, another thing about awareness is, awareness is when you can see and look at and be in the presence of what you don't want and what you do want at the same time, and not be negatively charged by it. Awareness is that place where it's almost like a Zen tension, where you're sitting on the mountaintop within yourself, and you don't take things personally that have nothing to do with you, or you don't feel defensive or like you're ready to jump down somebody's throat if they think or believe something opposite from you. Awareness is, listen, whenever I was 21 years old, because
you were 21?
On Thursday, I was 21. I have an imagination. I was thin and cute at one point in my life. 40-some years ago.
You are cute.
Yeah, don't lie to me.
You are cute.
You'll go to hell for lying,
You
Liz.
are cute.
Okay, I'll cut you.
Okay.
No,
I'm aware.
I know. And how do you feel about it, good or bad?
I feel good.
I feel good. Say it again.
I feel good.
When I was 21 years old, I was T-boned in a station wagon by somebody who was late getting to the haircut appointment.
Oh, no.
She was driving a Fiat. I was driving a powder blue station wagon that was all steel. T-boned, totaled. Oh. She hit me in the side, then knocked me into a telephone pole.
Oh, Lord.
It was awful. They almost had to get the jaws of life to... Well, no, they didn't have it then.
They didn't have the jaws of life.
No, they just pulled me out through the window. But awareness is when I was coming through that intersection, my light was green, her light was red. I saw her out of the corner of my eye. Everything started to go in slow motion.
Yeah.
Like, and as she impacted the car, I was already up and out of my body. And as a kid, I did not have a good relationship with my birth dad, my stepdad, or my grandmother, my mother's mother. And as a child, I disliked them tremendously. As I lifted up my light body,
Yeah.
my soul was up outside of the car looking down.
Yeah.
The awareness was unconditional love. The place I was in, I had no attachment to my physical body. I had no attachment. We've talked about the difference between attachment versus connection.
Yeah.
I was connected back into the light, and I was not attached to. So I'm connected to the light. So I have no negative feeling, emotion, or attachment to the bad things my dad did to my mother, or that my stepdad did to my mother,
Yeah.
or that my grandmother did to my brothers. So the connection to source is the purest form of awareness you can have. And it's about being in your body and having the same awareness and not getting sucked into the physical habitual attachments that make you feel like you have to choose one side or the other.
So you're just connected to the divine.
I thought the story was good, but yes, I was just connected to the divine.
Yeah, no,
Liz is like, you were connected to the divine. Yes, ma'am.
yes, you were.
Okay.
You're Well, again, you come back to yourself, right?
I did.
You come back to yourself. You're connected to the divine, and that you come from that perspective, which is your original self, right?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be funny if I had come back down into some like old lady's body? Like her name was Moselle and she had a mustache and a Rice Krispie right here. And she's like, is he dead? And wouldn't it be funny if she ended up getting in my 21-year-old body?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think we have a script here. Malcolm?
Okay, so the next one is the solar plexus megaphone. What is that, Edward?
The solar plexus megaphone is, we all know about the
Solar plexus, your power center.
Boom. And what color is it?
Jello. Yellow.
It is jello.
Jello.
It is. And it has to do with self-esteem,
Sure.
self-confidence. It is your fight or flight chakra. And I say solar plexus megaphone because Liz and I might have to go to the mud pit on this one. But it's okay because we love each other and we'll fix each other's hair and wipe things off of our body when we're done. The solar plexus megaphone is when you think a thought, the thought you think is not where your feeling magnet is. It's not the power. The thought is a thought. How you feel about the thought in your solar plexus is like exactly what the universe is saying yes to. It's saying yes to the thoughts, but it's mostly saying yes to how you feel when you think the thought. It's not saying yes to the action you're doing, especially if you're working in a job that you don't like. It's saying yes to how you feel when you're doing the job you don't like. It's saying yes to how you feel when you're doing the job that you do like. So a solar plexus megaphone is you think the thought, and the megaphone, which doesn't speak words, it is only a feeling frequency.
Okay.
And so you think the thought. Remember Charlie Brown and the Peanuts?
Yes.
Remember the kids would be speaking to themselves?
Yeah.
But when a teacher or a parent would talk back to them or answer their questions, it sounded like womp, womp,
Womp, womp,
womp,
womp.
womp.
Yeah.
So that's how the universe is with us. The universe is like the parent or the teacher in a Charlie Brown cartoon. You can sit here and go, I want a man. I'm reading Liz's thoughts. I want a man. I want a man. I want a donut. I want a man. I want a donut. I want a man. I want a donut. And so how do you feel about those thoughts, Liz?
So then I get a donut man.
So she can play ring toss with the man and his donuts. Okay. And I'll get the holes.
Well, you know what I think about it. I think that, are you complete? Are you finished?
I will be when you're done.
So basically, I mean, I've said this before, like the universe is like this man who has Alzheimer's and he has all the money in the world, the energy in the world to give you exactly what it is that you want. So yes, I agree with you. Your thoughts are important and your solar plexus is important, but the feeling from your feeling is what brings it into manifestation into the physical world.
Perfect.
So that is what is happening. So you're desiring it, you're thinking it, you're bringing it in, you're feeling it, and then you manifest it.
Yes.
That's how it works. I mean, your internal chakras, and we had talked about this before. So let's say we're talking about the solar plexus. It is cone shaped. The energy comes forward for the front and out the back, and the back has to do with manifestation.
Perfect.
Okay.
And I might have accidentally flipped it because I'm a gay person, so I can be dyslexic sometimes. And I'm sorry about that. So when Liz says, I want a man, the universe hears womp, womp, womp. If she said, I want a donut, the universe hears womp, womp, womp. If she says, I want a brand new car, the universe says womp, womp, womp. It only responds to how you feel. So it matches every
frequency,
thought, feeling, frequency that comes from the solar plexus. Now you got trillions and trillions of cells in your body. It's responding to the cells, your belief about it, your desire for it, your resistance to it, your fear of not getting it, your fear of what you're going to do when you do get it. He might not know what a G-spot is, but that's okay because you bought him a miner's cap and a manual. Okay, because Christmas is coming, not just once a year around here. If you're just tuning in, you're watching Coming Out with Liz and Eddie.
And I'm Liz Lyuk.
I'm Eddie Connor. Thank you for staying and not turning the channel. We appreciate it. We're talking to you today about asking better questions and how asking better questions can actually change your life. Liz is sharing 4 things, and the first one was the awareness and how awareness is the key really to everything. And then we just spoke about the solar plexus megaphone.
The next one is like attracts like. And the next one is conscious and subconscious.
And like attracts like is the most simple law of attraction, simple law of attraction. It's an electromagnetic thing. And again, you're not going to attract what you do want based on what you think you deserve.
No. And also when you say like attracts like, this all has to do with everything we said previously, your thoughts, your desires, and your feelings. If I say to myself, oh, okay, I want to have that car over there, some physical thing. I want this car.
And how do you feel about it?
Exactly. Don't be interrupting me.
Oh, see, she will. Hold on a second.
I will cut you.
I know that's why I'm leaning this way.
So if you don't feel it, if you don't feel that authentically within yourself, you're not going to get it. I mean, that's just what it is. It's basically the frequency of how you're feeling about a certain thing and the clarity in which you think it, you desire it, and you feel it will bring that into manifestation, right?
Yes. And I have a story.
Oh, okay. You tell me your story, Edward.
Whenever I was in high school, back then we had driver's education.
We did too.
Yeah. And okay.
I'm older than him, so I can say that.
That's true.
Yeah.
She went to school on a tractor. I did too. I lived in the country. I'm a country bumpkin. We had driver's education, and I wanted a Firebird Trans Am. Yeah. And they were beautiful. I'd never seen a car that beautiful. And all the commercials were amazing. There was toy model car Trans Ams. And I was like, I didn't know about any of what we're talking about today. I was just this piss poor kid in a trailer park, pretending one day I would be lucky enough to have a Pontiac Trans Am Firebird. Okay, T-top. And I would draw it, I would sketch it, I would doodle it. And then when it came time for driver's ed, guess what car I got to take driver's ed classes in?
A Trans Am?
A Firebird Pontiac Trans Am. And now I didn't know the difference between miles per hour and RPMs. And in North Carolina, there's a bunch of backcountry roads. In the back of a Firebird Pontiac Trans Am, there's really no room in the back seats. So it was Dwayne and another guy named Eddie in the back seat, and Mr. King, he was driving. He had
He's your driver's ed teacher?
Yes, he had the brake pedal over there.
Oh, that's right. That's
Remember?
right. That's right. They only had the brake pedal. Okay.
And he's like, now you want to get up to 35 miles an hour. Well, I wasn't looking at the miles per hour gauge. I was looking at the RPMs. Going back down these backcountry roads like Bo and Luke Duke from the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
And the two guys in the back were like holding on like this. And they're like, slow down, slow down. I was like, I can't get it to 35 miles an hour. And doing these jumps. And Mr. King had rolled his window down and was holding on to the outside of the car. And he was patting the brake. And he said, you can get a ticket in driver's ed, because we had the driver's ed thing on top of the car. And then we came around and I hit a bridge and we did this little jump. And he's like, you're looking at the RPMs, not the miles per hour. And so I never really told anybody that story, y'all. So please MC. And I believed enough. I thought it and felt Pontiac Firebird Trans Am enough that I attracted it.
Yeah.
And then at the end of my 6 weeks of driver's education, they took it away from me. Motherfuckers. Because that's what they do.
Well, that's what they do.
And plus, I didn't want it after I almost
Yeah.
wrecked it. Exactly. And then, so for Christmas, I kept flowing energy because I was 17. I'm flowing energy to a Pontiac Trans Am, Pontiac Trans Am, Pontiac Trans Am. Got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It was a full moon. Christmas Eve, before Christmas morning, I tiptoed to the front of the trailer. I pulled out the cardboard cutout that we use for a window shade. Don't judge us, people.
Okay.
And I pulled it out, and under the full moonlight, guess what was sitting in the driveway?
What?
A 1967 beat-up Pontiac.
Oh, but still.
My mama paid $100 for it.
Oh.
Soapy paid $100 for it. My Uncle Lee paid $100 for it, and that was my Merry Christmas present.
Oh.
And it had a big chunk of plaster missing off the side.
Yeah.
It had been beat up. It looked like Moselle, the drag queen, wasn't even right in it. And so I put the thing back in the window, and I went back to my bed, and I laid in my bed, and I was pouting until I fell asleep. So the next morning, the last present I got was a box that had the key in it. So because I knew how hard it was for them to do that, I acted like it was a Pontiac Firebird Trans Am.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know that I know that when my daughter Vanessa bought a car, she bought her first car herself.
Wow.
That
Where were her parents?
Huh? Well, we were there, but we encouraged her. We encouraged her to purchase her own car.
Yeah.
And she did. She purchased her own car, but we didn't want a new car. We wanted a used car, just because they're just learning how to drive.
Exactly.
So you don't want to get them a new car. You want them to get something that they can learn in, and
Well, and so guess what happened to my 1967 Pontiac La Bombs?
What happened?
The chassis broken and went through a cornfield.
How did that happen?
The chassis broke and it pulled the car off the road through a cornfield. So I got exactly what I thought, felt, and believed I could get because my awareness was this big.
Oh, you deserved. Or maybe you.
I felt like I deserved a Firebird.
But you got it.
But I got the Pontiac. I got the great grandma of the Pontiac Firebird Trans Am T-top. Okay, that's what I got. This is a spiritual show. I won't tell you what she circled on her page. Starts with an F and it ends with an Let's talk about the consciousness and the subconsciousness.
Yes, let's talk
go ahead,
about
Liz.
that.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay,
Now,
let's
come
do
on.
it.
Roll.
Okay. So we're Okay, so we're talking about consciously. This is in relationship to what you just talked about, actually. You can really think about that. Is that consciously...
I will think about that, Liz.
Consciously, you think about some things that you want in your life, or you want your life's direction to go towards. And so, let's say, for example, I want to go to a certain college, and I'm being and this has to do also with what I just said to you about deserving. That's really correct. And
Big key.
so in this case, I want to go to a particular college. I put out my my application, and I put out a ton of applications because I want to go to these certain colleges. But deep down inside, you don't feel you deserve it. You don't feel you deserve this thing. You don't feel you deserve at this level and frequency. And so therefore, the response that you get, again, the universe will respond to you as you feel. So you didn't get in.
Instead of what your thoughts.
Instead of your thoughts,
Yep.
and you're consciously wanting, I want to go to this Ivy League school. Oh,
Well, and you're a good kid. I'm a good kid.
I'm a good
and a lot
kid,
of you
yeah.
are good kids.
Yeah.
So you would have the good kid syndrome, which
Yeah.
means what? We spoke about it in one of the other previous shows in this season. A good kid will play small in order, like as a good kid, when I looked out the window and saw that beat up old raggedy Pontiac, which was the antithesis of what I wanted or hoped I would be able to get, I knew that it would hurt my mama's feelings, my uncle's feelings, and Sophie's feelings if I wasn't thrilled about it. And I ultimately learned to love the car until it
Sure.
almost killed me.
Yeah.
And because I was authentically grateful and appreciative to have one and not have to ride the bus and get my head thumped again. So it's like when you have those levels and layers and layers of subconscious and conscious beliefs, if you're applying for the colleges you really, really, really want, the good kid, which is a subconscious program, will not fully let you have what you want because it could be a stress or a strain on your parents or the family or whatever it is in there.
Or you'll choose for yourself not to do that because deservability is an important element.
It is. Deservability comes right back to either desire or resistance to the desire.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a desire for the Trans Am, and my resistance and my belief was
You didn't have the money for it.
and I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
They couldn't afford it. There's so many components that we stop and forget about. You think what you think, you work how you work, but that is not how you get what you want in life or don't want in life. You get it by how you feel.
Okay, let me just throw this thing at you.
Okay.
Okay, so this reminds me of a story that I heard of with Jim Carrey, and he had not been making a lot of money, and I think this is a very public story, and he wrote himself a check for $1 million. Did you hear that story? Mm-hmm. So do you think that is very similar to this? Is that he believed that this is going to happen in his life, so he manifested it physically. He brought it out of here into here, so that comes in with that think it, ink it, right? Journaling, doing all of that, but for all intents and purposes, his surroundings did not have that.
Right.
But he felt and he deserved it and that he's going to get it.
Yes, that is and the rest of the story is that he brought his parents to Los Angeles. He was a Canadian.
Yeah.
Brought his parents to Los Angeles when he started to get work as an actor. And then he stopped getting work as an actor before he broke out into a big star. And the parents had to go back to Canada because he couldn't afford to keep them here with him. And his father died before he got Ace Ventura: Pet Detective and got the $20 million check.
Oh, wow.
And now that is a perfect example of it physically speaking, but then I also know way more about the backstory on that, which we can't really talk about here.
No.
Because we're nice, responsible people. We're spiritual, y'all.
Yeah.
If you're just tuning in, you're watching Coming Out with Liz and Eddie. I'm Eddie Connor.
And I'm Liz Lyu.
Today we're talking about asking better questions and why and how asking better questions can change your life. And so we're going to go right down to ask questions that improve your thoughts and feelings and ask questions that lift you up and inspire others. Pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yep. And then ask questions that promote love and unity. and ask questions that stimulate your heart, mind, and gut brain at the same time.
Also, when you are speaking about when you're talking to yourself or other people and you keep asking the question why instead of how, the question and the word why keeps you in lazy thinking. The question and frequency of the word why keeps you stuck in a rut. Why did this happen? Why didn't they call me? Why didn't I get the raise? Why did that person get the raise and I not get the raise when I have seniority over that person and I've never missed a day of work? When you keep asking the question, why, you're stuck in an old program, and you're, like we said at the top of the show, you're thinking 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day that are recycled thoughts from the day, the week, the month before. When you flip why into how can I look at this differently? How can I approach this subject in a more light, aware way? When you take why, which is low frequency, and you replace it with how, which causes your brain to fire differently, the how question will get you more stimulated in a good way than the word how can.
Well, because why is always in process. You're always in process. You'll never get to the point of action. So the how is actually emblematic of being action. So now why is process. You want to get out of process. You want to go into action and how. So you're giving yourself the answer. How can I do this? So it's solution oriented as opposed to process oriented, which is the why.
Oh, I love that. And it's clean. It's super clean. Practice it and see how it works for you. We have 3 low frequency questions that a lot of people ask themselves. And what Liz and I are going to do is high frequency, connected to pure positive energy, petite flower princesses, giver, goddess, little facilitators of well-being on your behalf.
Yes.
Okay.
And our behalf too.
Yes. We're going to take those 3 low frequency questions and help you flip it to more of the mountaintop of awareness. The first one is, could this job get any worse?
Okay. And then the second one is, why is my boss such an a-hole?
I'm sorry, is that what's on your paper?
A-hole.
I'm sorry, move your pen. Oh, that looks like, that was directed at me. The third low frequency question is, will I ever lose this stupid weight?
We can all relate.
We can all relate. Relate rhymes with weight.
Exactly.
So the high frequency questions that can flip you from the why, stuck in the rut, recycled 50,000 thoughts a day would be, instead of could this job get any worse, consider this. How many positive things can I focus on a daily basis about my career? How many things are working to my advantage? How many parts of this career are actually lovely that I didn't stop to take the time to be aware of?
Yeah, and then the next one, in relation to why is my boss such an a-hole, you can say, how can I creatively raise my vibration to enhance my professional life? How can I use this as a stepping stone and to learn as much as I can to get to the next place in my life, to the next portion? Or can I meet someone in the situation that can assist me in going forward to what I want ultimately?
Oh, I love that. And taking the low frequency original question is, how come I can't lose this stupid weight? Okay. And the high frequency version of asking the same question is, how many light things can I harmonize with today that make me feel good? And that's just something as simple as the clouds in the sky, because that's lightness. A bird hovering in the wind, just sort of holding its space there, the wind blowing through the trees, a baby's laugh, somebody being kind. These are light things that when you choose to observe them from a feel-good place, you will then start to attract to you more things in your body, your mind, and your consciousness that feel lighter, higher, faster, more pure.
Well, you can also, don't you think that you can also ask yourself, how can I make better choices for me? How can I make better choices, easier choices for me, so that the results of my choices don't weigh me down, make me heavy,
Yeah, and
give me a light response, that's
This is where we say the same thing but differently.
Yeah.
I would say exactly what you said if I were me, because I know how I am. And I would just drop off the second part of the sentence. How can I focus on things that make me feel light instead of heavy?
Yeah.
I would just stop at light, because that's
Yeah.
how I do.
Yeah.
Think of me as Eddie Light. Think of her as Liz Light. Think of us as Lizzetti Light.
Lizzetti.
Lizzetti Light beings of the universe. Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to do a quick recap.
Yep.
At the top of the show, we spoke about why awareness is the key to everything.
Yeah.
The solar plexus megaphone. What you think and what you feel is going to be what you get. And you will do it through the yellow, bright wheel of light solar plexus megaphone. You think the thought, the universe responds to the thought and the feeling to the thought. Like attracts like, two birds of a feather flock together. Consciousness and subconsciousness, when you marry those two things together in a feel-good way, I'm telling you, you'll be tuned in, tapped in, turned on. And then you want to ask questions that improve your thoughts, feelings, and frequencies. And then also ask questions that lift you up and others around you.
Yeah. And ask questions that promote love and unity. And ask questions that stimulate your heart, mind, and gut brain at the same time.
And your heart heart has a consciousness that's all its own, and so does your solar plexus, which is another word for the gut brain or the solar plexus megaphone. Liz, what was your favorite part of today's show?
I think my favorite part of today's show was the process and action. I like that, the clarity of the process and action of what we're talking about.
Ooh. The before and the after.
Absolutely.
The beginning and the end. The low and the high.
Yeah.
The awareness on the mountaintop perspective.
The contrast, yeah. The clarity and contrast of all of that. What was yours?
My favorite part was that.
Oh.
It really was. That's my favorite part, because it ties up what we were speaking about and gives some proactive things you can do to play with the energy. And so you stop recycling the 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day that you have over and over and over and over and over, and you replace them with more of those mountaintop awareness thoughts that blend the conscious and the subconscious and the solar plexus megaphone as one in a light way.
Yeah, can I just say one more I like the fact that it's simple. It's a simple thing. It's not very complicated. It's a very simple thing.
And simple is powerful.
Yeah, exactly.
And truth is simple.
Yeah.
I'm Eddie Connor.
And I'm Liz Lyu.
You've been watching Coming Out with Liz and Eddie. All this episode, we've talked about the power of asking better questions and how it can change your life. And until we see you next week, please remember to keep your thoughts, your feelings, and your frequencies high, fast, and pure so that you can unlock the universe within. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Enjoy the show. I'm sorry.